November 23rd, 2023, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now it is 4:43 p.m. Eastern Time, and we just had the Foreign Minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, speak about the war in Ukraine. So I want to read to you what he said. He had some really strong words. He spoke at a press conference, following the 78th session of the UN General Assembly. He said a lot of stuff. We also have some breaking news that apparently all entrances and exits to Sevastopol are being monitored by the FSB, which is the Russian security service. So they're controlling all entrance and exits to Sevastopol, to and from Sevastopol. So like checkpoints, basically. They're probably looking for maybe saboteurs or whatever. But that's huge news, and obviously they're doing that because of the recent missile strike on the Russian Black Sea Fleet headquarters, where the commander of the entire Russian Black Sea Fleet was eliminated. We also have some strange flight paths today. We have that presidential Doomsday plane that took off from DC, and I told you guys it was going to Europe, most likely Germany, and it was supposed to land at Ramstein, and instead it is now flying over the Mediterranean Sea just to the southeast of Sicily, and it just got aerially refueled by a KC. It was aerially refueled right in this area, and very strange. The aerial refueler took off from Crete and met the E-4 Doomsday plane right over here, just off the coast of Sigonella, which is a major air base in Sicily. So why this would happen? The only thing I can think of is that it might have been unsafe to land at Ramstein for some reason. But I'm going to monitor the situation here, because this thing was supposed to land in Ramstein, and it detoured towards the Mediterranean and got refueled. So
testing, is it going to be simulation exercises, or is this all just a front for a major nuclear offensive? Remember that the United States modified its first strike policy to allow for it in the revision of their nuclear doctrine last year. This is all happening very, very dangerously close. Everything we have said on this channel has happened. From the ATACMS confirmed to be delivered to Ukraine, sending ATACMS long-range missiles to said, it's never going to happen. They've always downplayed this relationship with Zelensky, saying that they're going to abandon him, and this is copium. They're never going to abandon him because it's integral to the United States' macroeconomic dominance, their financial hegemony. They absolutely have to keep Russia and China contained. I'm not saying this is what I want. This is from the perspective of an objectivist, a realist. In order to truly understand what's going on, you have to be somewhat impartial to the outcome. Now, obviously, I'm partial to the outcome because I'm here in the West. but I can still try to look at things objectively, and that is what's happening. Joe Biden admitted today, when asked by a member of the Republicans, Democrats, about what there was a government shutdown, and he basically said Ukraine funding exempt from the government. If and when the government shuts down once again, they're going to pass some sort of bill that Ukraine, even if the government shuts down. And she asked him, how can you justify this? And he said, there is no alternative. There is no alternative. We must persist. In fact, I have the watch it if you want, but he said there's no, Biden's a dictator, he's an authoritarian. No, what he means is that this is a bipartisan issue. Doesn't matter if Trump gets in there. Doesn't matter if Pierre Poilievre takes over here in Canada. And the prospect for negotiated peace deal is completely off the table, and they're going to make sure that no matter who gets into power, it is going to be completely off the table, because not contain the Russians. Again, this is not what I want. This is just how it is. And maybe if we got, but he's basically saying, when he said there is no, they want to economic collapse. They have to keep the war going. Now, I know that sounds crazy, understanding that the United States has already accrued, 1.3 trillion in debt. Is it this year or this quarter? I can't even remember anymore. I mean, and you think about how much they've given to Ukraine out of that, it's still a small fraction of what they've, the debt that they've accrued. So the only way they can continue to accrue debt is if the financial system remains robust and they are viewed as a viable option for using for dollar-denominated assets. And that's the only way that they can continue this whole game, is if they can keep the financial system together. And the only way they do that is by not letting Russia absorb those four annexed territories, growing in population size, and getting together with the BRICS nations in order to possibly create some alternative currency down the road. Anyways, this is getting bad. We got depleted uranium, we got tanks, we got long-range missiles, we got drones, we got reconnaissance, we got Patriot systems, HIMARS, we got cluster munitions. It's all coming there. You're probably going to get F-35s and tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine and boots on the ground. It's all coming, because what has happened today is completely unprecedented. They possibly have murked the admiral of the Black Sea Fleet. And the Russians are being very, very quiet about this, which is kind of scary. In mainstream platform, be it RT, RIA Novosti, Sputnik, they're all being very tight-lipped about what is the headquarters of the Black frickin' murked by a Storm Shadow missile, no less. Now, this is why this is so important. You potentially have the death of the top admiral in the Russian Navy in the Black Sea. You have, knowingly, that this was a Storm Shadow British missile. We also have, at the time that this happened, we have a that was in and around the Romania region for the Ukrainians to target the headquarters. You have a massive cyber attack that happened right before or while this was happening. And all of this is to slowly, gradually try to attrit the Russians and cut their supply lines. That's what this is all about right now. So anybody saying that Ukraine is out of this fight and the United States is going to abandon Zelensky, just don't listen to him. It's not this. They're just being piecemeal with respect to their administration of various weapon systems, so not to elicit an immediate nuclear response from the Russians. Don't believe when they say, oh, we're just going to give them a couple ATACMS. I think
there's some concerning information, so I thought I would just go live. Out. What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NY Prepper. It is
live when it's ready to
that these high-ranking officers were eliminated. Okay, so this is absolutely huge news, guys. Okay, we know that the Russian Black Sea Fleet is the apple in Putin's eye, and Crimea is the apple in Putin for Putin in 2014, 2015, when Russia conquered Crimea. That was a huge boost in his popularity in Russia. But this is absolutely crazy, guys, okay? And this literally happened a day after Zelensky met with Biden. So it was almost like a gift to Putin from Zelensky while Zelensky was in the U.S. I think it was probably timed that way on purpose. We do know that Russia targeted Ukraine yesterday. I don't know if this was a retaliatory action for that, or if this was planned, weeks in advance. It's hard to say.